There we go. Alrighty. Giving it another half a minute or so. Okay. Good evening. Good evening. Happy Wednesday. Thank you for joining me. We are continuing in the book, The Power of Awareness by Neville Goddard. This week we are in chapter 16 and it will be followed by chapter 17. And the basis of what we're talking about is methods of manifestation. So let me get started. All right, so Mr. Goddard starts off saying, self-surrender is essential, and by that is meant the confession of personal impotence. And he goes on to quote John 5, verse 30, as saying, I can of my own self do nothing. And with the understanding that since creation is finished, meaning that everything that is to be, everything that has been, and everything that currently is, has been created already. That's part of when we're told it is finished. The Most High in his wisdom has put it all out here for us. It's just a matter of what we believe we can attain of our desires, the extent to which we can use our own creative powers. Being a part of the I am consciousness, we have a level of creation power. And essentially that's pulling in the aspects that need to come together from the ether to produce our desire on this realm in any given time period. We pretty much live in a linear existence, but it's all been laid out here for us in advance. So it's just a matter of when we decide to believe that we are fully capable and pull in our desires, goals, to have things open up for us in the way for us to have the results that we're looking for, despite what the process may be. Okay? So let me continue. We're told we need to yield to the law of magnetism. Surrender yourself. The law of magnetism is what it is. So really what it is our acknowledging this is a form of power on our part, acknowledging that we're not operating exclusively of our own will. Things are not happening by our efforts alone. We're taught about the mercy of the Most High and the different ways that we are blessed in this life. And part of working with working with the law, is to surrender the fact that surrender any idea that we might have complete control over the process, because we don't. Okay? That's where we're at with that. He says it can only be displaced. We cannot make magnetism. Displayed. You cannot make magnetism. It can only be displayed. So when you surrender yourself or you yield to the law, you're opening up the way for it to do what it needs to do in the way that it needs to do it. It's kind of like the idea of, we make plans, but the Most High has the best plans. That's the premise that we're working on. And he said the same goes for using the law of assumption. You can neither create nor change the law of assumption. So submitting the fact that you have to work with another entity, another aspect of power, the flow of energy back and forth between ourselves and the Most High, the great I am, the universe, the creator. This is the process that we're taking on in making these attempts. Everything that we are able to see, everything that we're able to experience was somebody else's thought, somebody else's desire, a previous time. So the fact that we see, I like to use the example of different architectures, the fact that we can see concept cars, that's an example. Different textiles, be it fabrics for clothing, materials for making the covers for automobile chairs, the different designs and things that people come up with, spider seats and whatnot, was somebody's desire at one point that moved into our current reality, and we continue to experience it to this day. I hope I'm explaining that well. And so, let's see. It is in this respect that you are impotent. You can only yield or conform. And since all of your experiences are the results of your assumptions, consciously or unconsciously, that's what I was talking about. Somebody else's ahead of, back in the day is what we're experiencing now. The current state of your life, the current things that you have in your immediate vicinity or don't have in your immediate vicinity reflects how much you feel that you can actually have, reflects how much you assume that you can actually achieve. And it's usually the restriction comes from, different indicators that we were given in our raising process, you know, um, between the educational system, between our friends and family. We've been given an idea and understanding of what we're actually capable of. And a lot of it has been not accurate. It might have been out of the interest of keeping us protected. It might have been out of, protection from being injured from outside parties. It might have been a level of protection from disappointment. Other people, have experienced disappointments in their lives. So to protect us from experiencing similar disappointments, they give us a different understanding, a lowered expectation of what we can actually accomplish. It's all mental. It starts in the mind. And once you're able to free up your mind, the possibilities are endless. So He says, the value of consciously using the power of assumption surely must be obvious. In the example of our own lives and some of our peers, if we want to compare, what we reached for versus what our peers have reached for, and the level of attainment that has come with those different goals. Willingly identify yourself with that which you most desire, knowing that it will find expression through you. That's the basic process that we've been talking about in each of these chapters, that using the power of your imagination, and I like to say it's not just for children, it's not just for artists, using the power of our imagination, along with the assumption that we can achieve the things that occur to our minds. Why would the Most High give us a vision if we were not able to bring it into fruition? Okay. Oftentimes we hold ourselves back, and that's without necessity. I'm going to refer you to YouTube. Do a search for Abraham Hicks and vortex. There's a bunch of different videos where the lady, Mrs. Hicks, is talking about creating a vortex, existing in a vortex, using the vortex to bring our desires into existence in our current reality. It's something that you have to practice. Some people, because the level of their energy is higher, the energy of their consciousness is higher, it comes through faster for them. Others of us, it's a bit lower. So with practice and with time, we're able to hone our skills. And each of the chapters in this book is giving us a little bit more that should help us towards gaining mastery of this skill. Okay. Yes, he says, willingly identify yourself with that which you most desire, knowing that it will find expression through you. Yield to the feeling of the wish. So having the emotion involved, it's not just cerebral, it's emotional. Once the head-heart connection is, in full flow, you have the energy, you've used your imagination to visualize, to be able to smell, touch, taste the different aspects of your goal, putting that in mind with, in connection, putting it in connection with your beliefs in what you're able to attain, brings it right on through. In divine timing, let me put it that way, in divine timing, not our timing. In the divine fashion, with the details that it comes through with, not in our planned details necessarily. Okay. So yield to the feeling of the wish fulfilled and be consumed as its victim. Then rise as the prophet of the law of assumption, basically gaining mastery of bringing your goals, bringing your desires forward into your current existence. And with that, I'm going to end this video and go on to chapter 17 in the next few minutes. Let me fill in information below. All right, and I'll be back with you shortly. Good evening. All right, thank you for joining. Hang on, I'll be back with the next chapter.